Hi, everybody, and welcome to Vikings Now. Jim Rich with Ahmad, Hicks, Pierre, Noujaim, your Minnesota Vikings. Just like we all predicted all week long, we're going to go into Detroit, a place they haven't won since 2020, and take out the Lions. Just how we all saw this coming.
Yeah. You know, Andrew Van Ginkel is back. JJ McCarthy back. That's all they need.
I mean,
they're going to the Super Bowl, everybody. That's it. You heard it here first.
This is insane. How does this happen? Where even Vegas, they took a massive hit today.
Yep,
8.5. They gave the Vikings as dogs, and I mean, this team seemed so dead in the water after that Chargers game. You were there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did they seem upset after that loss when you were in the locker room? Like, oh, man, this was crap. We're way better than this. It seemed like it was almost an acceptance.
No, in the locker room, I don't think any heads were dropped. I mean, players were frustrated after the loss, but they all were very optimistic. Like, look, we can play better than this. This is not our true identity of this team. And even speaking with them on Wednesday in the locker room when I went, they all knew they were a couple of plays away from being a lot better football team than what their record indicates. Like, they all believed they could go into this into Detroit and get a win. Tavierre Thomas, I think Tavierre Thomas and Dwight McGlothern told me after the game, they said, this is a 10-game season now, a college football season, and Detroit thinks they're just going to get a walk in the park when we come in there, and we're about to go stun them. I didn't report that during the week because I didn't want to give out any bulletin board material, but they literally told me after the game, and I'm like, how you have that confidence and optimism after this performance is alarming. But every week is a new week in the National Football League, and I joked about it, but Andrew Van Ginkel is back. He made a huge difference on this defense, and J.J. McCarthy was playing with his foundation that they talked about for the last 6 weeks. He played good. He got the ball out of his hands.
Well, he could actually move. I mean, compared to what you saw with Wentz, he was just standing there. He couldn't move because he was in so much pain, Pierre.
Yeah.
And now J.J. comes back, full 6 weeks, picture of health, and gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, I think J.J. McCarthy had a pretty steady performance for the most part today, but to me, he's not really the story of the game. You asked the question, how in the world did this happen? For me, I think it's very simple. The script was absolutely flipped in terms of what we've seen all season long with the Vikings. They were finally able to establish a run game, and they were finally able to stop the run. Now, what I didn't see coming in this game was their ability to stop the run because, as Ahmad and I talked about in the Vikings postgame show, you have the best two-headed monster in the National Football League in the backfield with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and you hold them to just 65 yards on the ground. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries, 25 yards. Who saw that coming today? Certainly not me. Certainly not me. I did not see that coming at all today. So the tweaks, and of course, getting Andrew Van Ginkel back, like Ahmad just said, that certainly helps. But the tweaks that Brian Flores was able to do along the defensive front and keep a lid on this on this Lions offense, that really, to me, was the difference in the game. The ability to establish some semblance of a run and stopping the run. We hear it from coaches all the time. All the time. Stop the run the football. You give yourself a chance to win the game. That's certainly what happened today.
All right. Here's why it flipped. Because they actually had a lead. Because throughout the season, I don't know, it was 7-0, then boom, they tied it right back up.
Off the top, yeah.
Right? They were down early, came right back, answered, and then they got the lead the next time they had the ball.
Right.
So that changes what Detroit had to do. And so then, I'm taking Bursic's take, by the way, from this. He told me the team had only been ahead 15% of the time. So when you are not dictating to your opponent what they can do, then all of a sudden you're getting gashed.
Yeah, fair.
Okay?
Yeah.
And he says, what does the Vikings defense do well?
Get after the quarterback.
Bingo. Right? But when they have the lead, they don't have to have just the quarterback back there throwing. He's handing it off. They can run the clock. The playbook is wide open. Pete says you need to close that playbook so it's down to a finite number of plays they can run against you. Because the Vikings, what do? Ball hawks, too, right? They either sack the quarterback, which they did 5 times, or they come up with turnovers when teams are pressing. When they're chasing a game, the opponent doesn't feel that heat, right? You can't get after the quarterback. And then everybody's talking about again, this is all Pete Persich, not me. He says those guys in the middle, right? They're not run stoppers. What did KOC and Kwesi say during the offseason? We want push up the middle to get to the quarterback, not to stop the run, right? It was all about more interior push. So those guys aren't run stoppers like Harrison Phillips was. Mm-hmm. So they felt that if they got the lead, this will just feed more into Flores' machine because it's going to make you make more mistakes because you're under pressure. But when you're losing all these games and you're behind, then the script is flipped.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you kind of, Pete hit the nail on the head with that take.
It's all Pete.
Look, you're right. Look, because when you're down, then you know, like, all right, they're dropping back. They have to pass, which leads to a lot of sacks. And the Vikings have given up a lot of sacks this season. I think before the game, they had given up 28 or 29. So after the 5 today, either 33 or 34 sacks. So that's still a number you want to see cleaned up here before the rest of the season plays out. But off defensively, I think you hit the nail on the head, or Pete did again, because it's like, basically, you know, if you're playing with the lead or playing from behind, then you know the other team is going to run the ball. So then that means they're on the field a lot. Your defense is getting gassed. And then the guys that you signed, Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, they can't go get after the quarterback because they got to stop the run. And so I think today was complimentary football you saw from all three phases of the Vikings, where they actually allowed their teams to play to their strength, whether that's special teams, that's offense, that's defense. Everybody got to play to their strength today. And I think the Vikings having a running game helped slow everything down, helped them control the time of possession in this game, and give their defense a chance to catch a break. That's something you haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. A lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of turnovers and things like that, where the defense, you go on a 10, 12-play drive, and then your offense goes out there for 3 plays. You're like, Jesus, I'm putting my helmet on again already.
Exactly.
So now everybody got a chance to get a break in today's game, and I think we all saw what this team can be if they play complementary football, which is hard to do each and every week. But if they can do it, this is a good football team.
Yeah. I mean, it just seemed to be like they lost their identity. They didn't know who they were. And, you know, maybe it was just when Wentz was in there, the team didn't really have any more confidence. Not that Carson's a bad person, but just his ability to do the job was diminished with that shoulder. And I think everybody on the field is like, well, even if we stop him, he's not going to be able to get us where we need to go.
Make no mistake about it, though.
I mean, they love the guy.
They wanted him to play.
Oh, yeah.
I had some players on before that Eagles game and before that Chargers game, and when it was up in the air who would play if JJ was up, they wanted Carson Wentz.
Right. You want to let him start if he's physically capable. But he was, after half of that Chargers game, he was no longer physically capable.
Oh, I'm sure.
That should have been a switch where you should have seen Brosmer come in, because you have to do something. You can't.
Do you, though?
You have to.
Well,
there's no way Carson Wentz was going to win that game. And this is water under the bridge now. We're talking Detroit. But you can give it 30 seconds on that so we don't steer off the rails.
Okay, what happens if you put Max Brosmer in the game and he gets killed? Now you're down both your backup quarterbacks. If Carson Wentz was under duress the entire game, hold on. If Carson Wentz was under duress the entire game and was as banged up as he was, and you send Max Brosmer out there with a depleted offensive line, and he gets hurt, what if he gets hurt? What happens now? And he can't play the next week. Because at that point in time, you didn't know that JJ McCarthy was coming back. So why would you run the risk of sending Max Brosmer out there and losing him top of that?
You have only 17 games. It's not like baseball where you have 162 and you can go with a bullpen game because our pitchers are tired. You can never. Well, you were a player. I'm not going to say never. You cannot, as a coach, I would think, worry about the possibility of a player getting hurt in your decision.
You have to think about next
week or not.
You have to think about next week. I don't agree with that at all. At all. You have to think about next week. You have to think about next week, don't you? You're down 34-10 or whatever it was in LA. You have to think about next week.
I'm talking before it went off the rails to 34-10.
It was off the rails in the second quarter. Game was off the rails in the second quarter.
Talking about Max Brosmer is irrelevant after J.J. McCarthy's performance today.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you can't afford to throw games away during the season. And it seemed like it was just like we're just letting this go.
Look, the Chargers just flat out beat them. Sometimes you just got to tip your cap to a good football team, and that just happened to be a good football team.
Answer the debate here. Which side are you? Are you with him or with me? Which way are you going?
Look.
As a coach, do you consider the health of a player when you decide to insert him into a football game or not?
I mean, yeah, you should, for sure. But as Kevin O'Connell said, he said he wanted to go out there and play. The doctor's cleared him.
No. I'm talking about putting Brosmer in the game. No, Wentz, we know he's a warrior. The guy, they're going to make a movie about that guy.
Yeah. I mean, you put Brosmer in the game, there's no telling that he has success. Like, this guy has.
I know it, but then why is he on the team? You've got to have a backup plan. But anyways, let's get back to Detroit. You guys aren't going there, so fine. Yeah. Go ahead, commenters. You tell us which side. Who's right? This will be juicy. Go ahead. The running game re-emerged. Unfortunately, though, we lost Aaron Jones again. Don't know the specifics as of yet. The coach didn't really elaborate, which he's not going to do after a game, unless it's something really bad. Then he does let it out of the bag.
Pretty sure it was just like an AC joint sprain from what it looked like. I've had those before. They hurt. They're painful, but you can play with them. He didn't look like he was in a ton of pain after the game because if he was significantly hurt after the game, you don't talk to reporters after the game.
Right.
And he did speak. So normally when he got dinged up last year and he spoke to reporters after the game, he would always tell me, "I'll be all right next week." Have to imagine he'll be out. He'll be out there next week.
What was the difference for Aaron Jones this week compared to the Chargers game where they only rushed the ball? 5 times in the first half for 10 yards?
Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw.
I was just about to say, you have a healthy-ish offensive line. The return of Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw playing the majority of the game, obviously. And, of course, I think Blake Brandel is getting a little more comfortable under center with the protections and looking like he's looking a little bit more of an anchor along that offensive line, filling in for Ryan Kelly. So I think in terms of it plays into the point that you were talking about earlier, Jim. You can run the ball because you have a little bit of a lead. Obviously, they had to come back from that early 7-0 hold. They were able to do that thanks in large part to Miles Price giving them a short field and allowing them to get into the end zone. So I think you were in a position where you could run the football. You had to abandon the run very early in that game against the Chargers. So I think Aaron Jones, Ahmad and I talked about it, just adds such a different dynamic to this offense. And a lot of people might think, oh, man, he's long in the tooth. Maybe Aaron Jones' best days are behind him. This young man can still play football at a high level, and not just running the football, but catching the ball out of the backfield as well. He's a real weapon for them, and they missed him. Just look at the Vikings offense, and I know that they were without J.J. McCarthy, but in terms of where J.J. McCarthy is in his maturation on the field and his playmaking ability, losing him for an extended stretch and replacing him with Carson Wentz, I don't think you lost a great deal in terms of where the offense can go with whoever is there at quarterback. But without Aaron Jones back there, that affects your offense a little bit. And I think you saw it with him out of the lineup, and with him coming back, you see how much better they can be.
Yeah, and you know Aaron pretty well. That guy is committed to winning, right? He is not just a player that's playing. He's a guy that's all about getting the job done.
Yeah, he's tough. He's tough. Right? He's a leader.
He's not a big human being.
No, he's a captain on this team for a reason. I think he believed in number 9. I asked several guys in the locker room, like, is JJ it? Like, what do you guys think about him? And every single player always tells me, yes, he's a dog. Like, we are riding behind him. He has a lot of confidence. Like, we believe we can win a lot of football games behind JJ McCarthy. He just had to go out there and have an opportunity to showcase his talents. And I think that Kevin O'Connell kind of alluded to this. We didn't know it before the Falcons game. We kind of thought, all right, he missed a day of practice for the birth of his son, blah, blah, blah. But Kevin O'Connell basically came out and said that he missed all of that week of preparation. He came back, had a decent Friday, but he missed the heavy install on Wednesday, the heavy install on Thursday. And when you miss a lot of that as a quarterback who's only played one NFL game, that can be detrimental. And so it showed up in that Falcons game. So Kevin O'Connell was the first to say, like, look, when you go back and you go look at that Falcons game, kind of put an asterisk next to it because he didn't have the full prep week that he needed. Whereas this week, he had the full prep week. He got his mind mentally ready. And like they said, they kept working on his foundation and his footwork and everything like that these last 5 weeks. And it looked like he played on rhythm. But I think that time, he said it after the game, the way they handled his high ankle sprain was tremendous because I think he got a chance to see what the little things Carson Wentz did to make this offense be successful and getting the ball out of your hand, get it to Justin Jefferson, get it to Jordan Addison. And I think when he goes back and watches this film from this game, Pierre and I talked about this on the Vikings postgame show, there were a lot of easy layups.
Outstanding, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
He had a lot of easy layups where it's just like, all right, get the ball out to your guy. It may be a 3-yard game, but get it out, get an easy completion, slow down a little bit, take a little bit off the fastball, just give an easy catch or, easy catchable ball to Justin Jefferson or some of these other guys. So I think while he didn't play great, according to him, he played good enough, and he's going to look at that film and be like, you know what, I could have played so much better, and I think that's only going to give him more confidence because it's not like he was missing reads. His throws were just off by a little bit. So I think, he'll learn from this.
Right. I mean, the numbers don't blow you away at all. What, 14 to 24?
25, I think, 14
to 25. 116 yards, 2 touchdowns,
one interception, one rushing touchdown, though.
A weird interception, too. That could have easily been
I know it's a win. No, I understand that. But, I mean, are we all in now on McCarthy? Are we sold?
No, that's a big term to use. All in. I view it as
the franchise is.
The franchise is, but of course. But you view it as like a student in class. It's an incomplete grade right now, and we don't really know what we have with J.J. McCarthy until we get a few more games under your belt. What I've liked so far, listen. Winning is the bottom line. You're judged as a quarterback on whether or not you can get your team in position to win in the fourth quarter. He did it in Chicago. He makes a big-time throw to Jalen Nailor with under 2 minutes to play to ice the game. It was a great throw, great catch by Jalen Nailor. Those are the plays at which you're judged on the most. And I think that while it's been up and down for 3 full games so far with J.J. McCarthy, there's more reason for optimism than pessimism in my mind. I'm not all the way there yet, and that's why I have to come out and say, listen, it's kind of an incomplete as of right now.
I think you should be all in. I think every quarterback that was drafted in that first round has been fairly decent.
You? When you say you, who do you mean?
Fans.
Fans. Okay.
You should be all in. I mean, what is your backup? Max Brosmer? I mean, the guy that they just signed who we don't even know whose name it is? I mean, like, come on now. Like, this is your guy. Like, just rally around him. They built the team around him. They built the defense to complement J.J. McCarthy and this offense. Just give him some time. Let Kevin O'Connell mentor him. Let him develop him and stop judging him so hard after one game. It's 3 games underneath his belt. Look, you can tell he learned from that Falcons game because we all remember that seam route that he had where you had Jalen Nailor in the slot and he ran up the field. He overshot him. He completes that pass. That's probably a touchdown. He made sure today, make sure I don't overthrow Jalen Nailor when the game's on the line. Gave him a catchable ball. Like, you're going to continue to grow, but every quarterback from that draft class has had some success in the National Football League, and you like to think the guy that went number 10 overall, like, he's going to have some success as well. So I think we just need to be patient. He's in a good offense with a lot of good players around him. He never had his full offensive line. He never had Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. And let's be real, the first couple of games, T.J. Hockenson had to be an extension to the left tackle or right tackle, so he wasn't really getting his full arsenal of weapons out there. Now you have that, and Aaron Jones, so it's like it's a little bit easier for J.J. McCarthy to go play football. So I think we just need to be patient, but I think the fans should be all in right now.
I tell you, the ball that he put down the field for Jordan Addison in that second quarter, the pressure was on there, and he waited till the last minute for that pressure to come. Aiden Hutchinson was coming around the quarter, and he dropped that ball in the bucket of Jordan Addison, allowed him to make a play. That impressed me. His ability to withstand the heat in the pocket is something that I noticed today in terms of his toughness, his wherewithal. Like, there were times where I thought he maybe tucked and ran a little too quickly, but I'm not going to get on him for that because, especially when you get hit a few times as a quarterback, you're going to start to wonder. But that play in particular, Jordan Addison, was a 31-yard gain where that pressure was right there. I mean, a split second more, and J.J. McCarthy would have been on the ground. But he knew it was coming, kept his eyes downfield, and threw a great pass to Jordan Addison to keep this change going. I believe it was the very next play, they went in and they scored a touchdown. So it's those plays that, I'm encouraged with some of the things I've seen. I'm not ready to go jumping 2 feet into the pool like Ahmad is, though.
They don't have any other choice. What else you got to do?
But I'm not, and that's part of the reason why. Like, obviously you have what you have, but I'm not. Necessity is not what's going to convince me. That's not, obviously you have him and you drafted him high. I mean, we've had this conversation before, but necessity doesn't automatically make me a believer. That's all I'm saying. But again, I'm more optimistic than pessimistic when it comes. I've seen more good than bad from J.J. McCarthy so far.
And I think that's what it all boils down to. Like, 3 games, and he's had 2 wins. He played great in the fourth quarter of the Chicago game. Played great.
And 2 road wins.
And 2 road wins.
In
the division.
Yeah.
I think it's
place
enough.
where they haven't won since COVID.
Yeah.
Look,
2020.
I think it's enough to go all in this season. I think if he plays the way he played today, I think you end all those narratives out there about, do the Vikings need another quarterback? Should they be trading for another quarterback? If he comes out there, duplicates that performance against the Baltimore Ravens and their talented defense, I think now you're like, all right, we got our guy. Now let's go shore up our cornerback room. Let's go shore up maybe the linebacker spot, maybe a center or something like that, because he still didn't have his all 5 offensive line. Ryan Kelly's still missing in the picture. So I think that the trade deadline, November 4th coming up, me and Pierre were talking about that. Yeah. So if you're going to do anything, I think maybe you try and go get another corner. Jeff Okudah missed his second game with the concussion this time. So it's like, all right, maybe need a little depth there. Fabian Moreau got elevated from the practice squad. I don't know for what reason they're not getting Dwight McGlothern any reps out there. I think this is a very talented corner, a young up-and-coming guy. But maybe go get you a veteran corner with that trade deadline approaching, or maybe someone else to shore up the the line. But other than that, I think you got to roll with what you got. Keep going out there with J.J. McCarthy. Keep plugging away and letting this guy learn. I mean, you got to be patient. And most people say you can't judge a quarterback until he has 1 season under his belt. Well, he has 3 games, so let's keep it rolling. Let's see what he has.
All right, you're sitting at 500. The trade deadline is Tuesday. Do you go buy? Or do you just stay pat with what you have?
You're buying.
I mean, you're obviously not a seller with the way the division shook out and the Packers losing today. So that all of a sudden brings everybody back, and you took a chunk out of Detroit. So that kind of all of a sudden opened the door again for you. Had you lost today, I don't know if you'd be buying anything.
No, I don't
think so. But maybe a timeshare in Bermuda.
Well, I mean, given the way that the division lays out right now, if it wasn't for Green Bay's tie, Minnesota, even though they're last in the NFC North, there would essentially be only a game out.
Right.
So, I think that puts you in a position to buy. The question is, what are you buying? When you look around this team, I think Ahmad said it, corners is an area maybe that you might look at. Do you possibly look at center? Is that another position of the field? Because you don't know if Ryan Kelly's coming back.
Right. Right.
And if you're comfortable with Blake Brandel at center, fine. You know more about it than I do, and that's fine. But that might be an area of the field where I might be looking at as well. That's really the question. What are you buying?
Yeah,
that's my question.
Right.
I think there's only one thing to buy if they're buying, and that's a cornerback. I think that's the one thing that could be a difference maker when you talk about this division and possibly being your back burner or what you're falling back on. Is like being able to stop the run, because you got guys that can get after the quarterback and Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard. You could always get one more of those. I mean, you can never go wrong with that. But the way that outside of Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, they're pass stoppers. Like they're there to stop the pass. Well, you got Jalen Redmond, and you also got Levi Drake Rodriguez there to stop the run. So you got what you need on the defensive front. Eric Wilson is playing out of his mind right now. He's unseated Ivan Pace for that starting linebacker role.
That's surprising. Did he even?
I don't think that's surprising. If you were out at training camp and saw Eric Wilson, you would have seen him flash every single day. Because one day before I even knew he was back on this team, I asked myself, I said, who is that at linebacker right now? And then I'm like, man, this guy's playing out of his mind during training camp. So I thought it was a possibility that he would creep his way into the starting lineup. He's done that. That injury to Blake Cashman opened up the door for him, for the team to evaluate Ivan Pace a little bit more critically than they had been in the future. I mean, in the previous years when they absolutely needed him, when you didn't have anybody outside of Blake Cashman. So I think the only area you're buying, though, maybe safety. I doubt it, though, but corner. Because when teams go 3-4 wide, you're talking about good NFC teams, possibly the Eagles with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and the Rams with Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. You want to be able to put your best corner, go play man-to-man football, and let your defensive line go get after the quarterback. So if you're buying anything, it has to be a cornerback.
Yeah, and the NFL trade deadline has changed the last couple of seasons. Teams normally didn't really do much of anything. That's changed, especially with Kwesi. He's gone out when they needed a lineman. They went out, grabbed one when Darisaw went down.
Cam Robinson.
Yeah, and he was good. He did what he was supposed to do. So I could see the Vikings trying to work something to bring in some help.
This is a team that they were talking about contending for a Super Bowl this year. All right, then everything kind of went downhill when all the injuries hit this team. J.J. McCarthy got hurt. Darisaw was still recovering. Brian O'Neill got hurt. Ryan Kelly got hurt. Donovan Jackson got hurt. Blake Cashman. I mean, you name it. Everybody got hurt.
Aaron Jones.
Now everybody's starting to come back. Now everybody's starting to believe again. I mean, they always believed inside that locker room. As Metellus told me, he said, look, until you look at that playoff picture and it says we're eliminated, we always have a chance. And I think they all believe they have a chance right now, and they all just need to keep stacking wins. That's the most important thing. So I think they're all big buyers right now, and I think they're all shifting back to that mindset like, hey, Jonathan Grenard said, if we want to win a Super Bowl, we got to beat a team like Detroit. We're playing for bragging rights. We're playing for momentum and confidence. That's literally what he said on Wednesday. And they went out there and beat a team that everyone is penciling in for the NFC Championship and the Detroit Lions. They beat them. So you absolutely put yourselves back in that conversation if you keep winning, of being a team that's worthy enough to go compete for a Super Bowl and get to the NFC Championship.
All right. I mean, if we talked after that Chargers game, this is kind of like Halloween, right? Where the dead comes out of the ground and back to life. That's what I kind of feel about the Vikings. It's like people were digging their grave for the team and just patting the dirt on the ground saying, well, that was a heck of a nice run. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking that this team's got a chance not only to get into the playoffs, but do something in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You really want to go that far? After we've seen, what are we, 8? So we're 8 in, right? 4-4.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, it's a possibility if they keep playing the way if their defense
right.
plays the way
So what I'm saying is, do you see enough here on paper that this team, barring injuries and everything else that could derail you, have what it possibly takes to be a team that could do something? Or are you thinking that the corner, if they don't fix that, is going to be a liability, or if they don't fix Ryan Kelly, he doesn't come back, and you don't go get a center, are we going to be on pins and needles with this line all year with people going in and out all the time?
I still think on paper there's enough here for this team to be a playoff team and win a game in the playoffs. I think that is right now, to me, the max to max out this team's ability is winning one game in the playoffs. I think that I don't know if I see a team that can go farther than the divisional round. But what I will say is the rest of the roster looks all right to me. Like I'm still fine with it. Everything depends on J.J. McCarthy. Everything depends on the progression of the quarterback from week to week, and that is on the coaching staff to make sure that he makes that progress week in and week out. The rest of the season, to me, the number one storyline is, can this young man progress to the point where you say to yourself, there it is. There's our guy. Absolutely. We're going to run with him all the way as far as we can. And if he turns a corner, then I think there's the rest of the roster. I think there's enough on the rest of the roster to make me believe that this team could make a push in the postseason. As of right now, I still think this is a team that can, and I'm going to use this word purposefully, should make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, I think it's going to be a catastrophic disaster.
I agree. I mean, the money they spent this offseason, the people they brought in, the acquisitions they made, it was not to make it to the playoffs, but to win the playoffs. Harrison Phillips isn't here anymore, but he said it perfectly during OTAs and whatnot. He said, every year during the NFL season, we do well, and then the season ends, you don't go to the playoffs or you lose in the playoffs, and then we start from ground zero. He said, we're not starting from ground zero this year. We're bringing in players that can help us achieve our goals at the end of the season and win in the playoffs. And the guys that they brought in, they're older veteran guys who are in the tail ends of their career, who want to start competing for championships and whatnot. And
I remember when he said that.
Exactly.
I remember you pulled that bite right away.
So
wait a minute.
Exactly. So I think that you look at the makeup of this team. Justin Jefferson hasn't won a playoff game. He wants to compete. Aaron Jones, he's been in the playoffs, had some success. He wants to get back there. TJ Hawkinson hasn't had any success in the playoffs. He's getting older, 28 years old. He wants that success. And you talk about everybody defensively. Harrison Smith, all these guys, Byron Murphy Jr., Jonathan Allen. I mean, he was in Washington when they had no success. Like, these guys want to win now. So I think the roster, like Pierre said, is built to not just make it to the playoffs, but win a playoff game. And then I think that would be something where you can hang your hat on, like, you know what? we accomplished our mission this year. Obviously, the mission is the Super Bowl, but
Right.
if you make it to the playoffs and win a game, it's a successful season.
And even if you make it to the playoffs and you win a playoff game, who knows what might happen after that? Look at Washington last year. They get into the postseason, they start on the road, win a game down in Tampa. Hey, playing with house money, going to Detroit. What happens? You go and you upset the Lions, or you make it all the way to the NFC Championship game. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen.
Right.
But if you will get yourself in a position to win a game on Wild Card Weekend, who knows what might happen after that. So, and that's what I expect. I expect the Vikings to get there. I absolutely expect them to get there. And I think everybody's expectations should be for this team to be a playoff club. So beyond that, the roster I think is still good enough. It's just in terms of health, progression of J.J. McCarthy, that's really where the season is going to go.
They need 6 out of the next 9. People in that locker room told me if they get to 10, that's a playoff-worthy team, and they feel like they can make some noise in the playoffs. So they need 6 out of the next 9. I said 7 out of 10 before this game. They got 1.
Yeah.
Now they need 6 out of 9.
10 wins should be enough to get you into the postseason.
Yeah.
That would win my $100 bet with my friend.
There you go. There you go.
Well, that's all that really matters. That is the most critical thing. But I think one thing that you've hit on and what I've seen in the past with teams is when there's a belief there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans, they were off the J.J. McCarthy bandwagon. They were.
It doesn't take much for people to jump off the ship.
No, I know. But to have a team like, and we've heard it almost like it's like a sheet in the locker room that tells the players, you will not rip J.J. McCarthy. I mean, you have not found one person that has said, well, the kid's got some things to learn or, this and that. No, they're all like, he's here. He works with us. He's in everything. He's doing everything possible to get ready. And if a team truly is believing those words that they're telling the media when we get them in the press conferences, then you do have something.
Yeah, well, work ethic and attitude is more than half the battle. And J.J. McCarthy certainly has a great attitude, and from what we've heard from the coaches, a terrific work ethic. It's just a matter of timing, rhythm, putting it all together. Like I said earlier, I'm not ready to go all in because I just haven't seen enough yet. That's the reason why I just haven't seen enough yet that has convinced me.
No.
But I think something is there for sure. I think something is there.
And you are in there nosing around more than the other two of us. If that is true, what those players are saying and believing, then that does, because
Confidence is everything.
right.
Yeah.
Because if they believe that guy could get the job done, they'll hold their block a little longer. They'll fight to get open a little longer. All these things kind of feed off themselves and can make a team from being mediocre to being a good team.
All I'm saying is give that man his offensive line, a healthy offensive line in front of him, and let him distribute the ball to his weapons. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, I think this Vikings team will have a chance, especially with the way that they built that defense and with the healthy Andrew Van Ginkel and a healthy Jonathan Grenard. I think you got those two guys healthy who can get after the quarterback. Everything else opens up in your offense, like you're allowing Harrison Smith to now come off the edge because you don't have another guy over there that can go block him and stuff like that. So all I'm saying is they have a chance now to make some noise. They can win in this division. They showed that today, beating the Detroit Lions, the best team in this division on paper, like
Maybe
everyone
the best
knows.
of the NFC, some
Exactly.
say, right there with the Eagles.
So they had a chance to beat the Eagles. Like if we go back to that
Exactly.
game. So I think they believe they can win. They all believe they could win before this game. I'll go out there and say that. Like I wasn't crazy enough to believe them, but
Well, that's what I
yeah.
mean. That's what makes it so stunning. It's
Yeah.
a complete 180 from watching them walk off the field.
But that's the
in
NFL.
LA.
That's the NFL.
I know, because then you see the Packers today, because that all of a sudden opened this door. I think if Green Bay kept winning, you're like, okay, well, now
Well,
they get beat at home. They lose their prize tight end. Looks like for the season, he may be gone. So all of a sudden, they're kind of in flux after their great performance against the Steelers, where they showed Rodgers, we don't need you. And, you thought, okay, that was really going to be a springboard for them. And then you're back home and you play like that against a Panther team, which is much better than the Panther teams of the past.
as guys always say, every team has millionaires. They all get paid to win. That's what Josh Matella said last week. Said, we don't get paid to just go out there and lose. We get paid to win. And so that's what Kwesi Adofo-Mensah did. He paid this team to win because Lord knows his draft picks aren't that good. So your free agents need to play well. And so they played well this past game.
So where do we go from here?
Next week?
Baltimore. Lamar Jackson.
Their defense hasn't been that
should
great
be
this
back.
Year. Yeah, he's back. He played against the Dolphins. He had 4 touchdowns. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He's back. That wasn't a question. That was a statement.
Yeah. This is
where you need the lead. Going back to Pete's premise off the top.
Make him throw.
You need to dictate what Baltimore does, what Jackson does. Because if he has an open book and everything available, it would be a very difficult assignment.
You know, I'm not going to mince words here. I don't like the Vikings next week. I don't. I think Baltimore with a healthy.
You're home.
I think.
Skull. Come on, we got the whole stadium.
I think with a healthy Lamar Jackson and credit to the Vikings with their ability to stop the run the way they did today against Detroit. But when you've got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield at the same time, and they make you think about some of those RPOs that they like to run, when they make you think about who's going to get the football, whether it's going to be Lamar, whether it's going to be Derrick Henry, it freezes you for just enough time for one of those guys to be able to break off a big run.
That's true.
This is going to be a tough game for Minnesota. I'm not saying it's a game that they can't win. It's a game they absolutely can win. And like Ahmad said just a moment ago, defensively, Baltimore got off to a tough start. They've been better the last couple of weeks.
Right.
This is a tough game for Minnesota. I haven't looked at the line yet. I don't know who's favored in this game just yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore opened as like a 1 or 1.5 point favorite in this game.
Lamar Jackson.
And this team lost to the Detroit Lions. They scored 30 points against them. This defense hasn't been phenomenal. They haven't proven they can stop the run. So I think there's a chance. They're vulnerable a little bit. You keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket, you make him dice you up. Those tight ends is what he goes to. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, I mean, they're good, but they aren't like guys where it's like, oh, my God, we need a game plan for them. They're going to change the game like a A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. So I think you slow down the rushing attack, and then you let the Vikings just tee off on Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. I think they give themselves a chance to win. It'll certainly be a tough game, but if you want to be a good football team, you need tests like that. You need games like that. And if they can win this game, then they go through this gauntlet that we all talked about, taking on the Eagles, the Chargers, the Lions, and the Ravens. They split 2-2. I think if you tell them before these 4 games, they said they wanted 3 out of 4. But if they take 2 out of 2 in this stretch, that gives them confidence.
I just looked offshore to see if the line was up yet. It is not. I don't see a line yet.
The ship has not come in yet?
No. I don't see a line for this game just yet.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the Vikings Now podcast. Where can people find this? In case they just happen to stumble across this on their phone.
It's a lot of places now, I feel like. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Fox Local, Fox9.com.
Our YouTube page. Did you say that one?
Yeah, I said the YouTube. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yep.
And of course, Pierre is monitoring the comment section, so please let him know. And or if they just want to talk to you on X, how can they X you?
Yeah, you can. I don't know, that sounds weird. You can X me at the Nouj Fox9 Nouj.
Ahmad Hicks TV. Ahmad Hicks AHMAD. Pierre. Hicks TV.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Was there a typo today?
There was a typo in the email that I sent out. For some reason, an N snuck
Sorry,
up
I
in
can't
his
spell
name.
his last name. There's
Fair
no
enough.
shot of spelling that thing.
Fair enough.
All right, that'll do it for us. That's enough laundry out there for you. Mine's easy, right? You can't get that one wrong because although people call me son of a something else, and it's Rich. I just don't understand why they have a problem with that. All right, that'll do it. Your Vikings win 27-24. We will talk to you after the Colts, or always if there's breaking Vikings news.
The Ravens.
Oh, yeah.
The Ravens.
See, there we go.
Game.
There's a typo. There was a typo in this script here that somebody gave me. Pierre, did you do that one?
That was
all
not
right.
me.
That'll do it. I'll stop talking so then I can stop making mistakes.
We'll
see you next time.